In this lesson, we are going to work on updating the details of a post. The first thing we want to do is come to our resources, views, post, index.blade.php and include a link for editing a post. Right here on the edit, I'm just going to make sure that we have the route for edit. So this is going to go to post.edit and the second argument has to be the post ID. Okay, so if we come back and if we click on edit, you can see that it goes to the edit page, but unfortunately, we don't yet have any functionality right there. So we go to our post controller and then under the edit, which is right here, we are going to use route model binding to get the post. So post, and we're going to return view. And as usual, we're going to return the post.createView, but this time around with post. And this is going to be the post that we found from the database using route model binding. So if we refresh this page, great. It shows us this page for editing a post. But we want to use the same form, right? Which means we have to customize this form for both the edit and the create. Let's open up that form. It's right here, the create.blade.php. The first thing we want to do is make sure the title is correct. We'll check. Is set post. If post is set, use edit post. Else, use create post. So if we refresh right now, you can see edit post. Now, we'll come right down to the input and we're just going to set the value. Is set post. Then the value is going to be post title, else an empty string. If we refresh right now, great, you can see the value right there. Let's go ahead and do the same thing with the text area description. So here, remember for the text area, it's not a value attribute, it has to be in between the text area tags. Is set post. If the post is set, then we're going to use post description. Else, we're just going to use an empty string. Refresh. Great. And while we're doing this, we always have to make sure that we visit the add post to make sure that it works as expected. Let's go back to our edit. And how do we set the value for the tricks editor? What we want to do is we want to come to the input for the tricks editor, which is here, and pass a value. So this is going to be is set post. Then this is going to be post content. Else empty string. And if we refresh, you can see the tricks editor is automatically populated. We are done with the tricks editor. The next thing is the date picker. We are going to come to the date picker and just set its value. I'm just going to copy this and change this to published at. And if we refresh, great, you can see the value right there. And if we change the value, it works. Okay. So for the image, what we're going to do is we're going to display the image so that the user can see the image that the post currently has and then decide to update it or not. Right here, I'm just going to have an if statement. If is set post, which means we are editing, and if right here, I'm just going to say div.form group, and in here, I'm going to have an image and the source is going to be asset post image, and I'm just going to give this a class or some styling. So a star is going to have width 100%. Let's refresh. Great, you can see we have the image for the post right there. Okay, and if the user decides to update this image, then they can just choose. The next step is to handle this form on our server side, but now we have to change this title. So let me just do that. Is set post, then use update post, else use create post. Now we have to also change this. So right here, now it's submitting to post.store, but we want to use is set to know what route it should submit to. So is set post, then use route post.update, and then we're going to pass in post ID to this route. Else, then it should just use the route for post, which is create. Next thing, we want to make sure that we have a method put or patch in case it is updating. So if is set post, and if it is set post, then we're gonna say at method put. Awesome. So if we refresh right now, visit the page source, you can see that in our form we have the value of the hidden token and the hidden method. But if we go back and visit the post page, click on add post, view the page source, scroll down to the form, you can see that we don't have those values in the form. All we have is our CSRF token and no method field. So it looks like it works as expected. Now let's go back to the edit, click on edit. Finally, when the user clicks on update post, we need to handle it. At the moment we don't, that's why we have an empty screen. We'll head over to our post controller and we have the request right here. We can also generate an update post request so that we have our validation rules in a separate file. So we're just going to say at make request. This is going to be post/update post request. Okay, so you must not necessarily create a request for all of your requests, but in case you have validation rules or other stuff like that, you want to have a separate request so that your code is always clean. So we're just going to change this to true to authorize this request for all authenticated users. We haven't yet talked about that. We are going to talk about that soon enough. Then right here, the rules, the title must be required for update. The description must also be required. The content must also be required, but the image must not necessarily be required, right? So we're just going to let it at that. This is the difference. If the image was required, then we're just going to use this request. But now, since the image is not required, we're just going to use this one. Okay? So we're just going to come here and we're just going to use this. So I'm just going to say update post request. And remember that this is going to automatically use it at the top for me right here. Okay? So if I scroll down for the update, what I'm going to do is we have to first of all check if new image, and if there's a new image, upload it and then delete old one. Okay? Next, we are going to update attributes, flash message, and redirect the user. How do we want to do this? We want to check if there's a new image. So we're just going to say if request has file image, then we are going to upload that image. So this is what we're going to do here. If the image was actually uploaded by the user, which is a brand new image, then we're going to upload it by simply doing request image store to the post folder, and we'll get that image right here, just like we did for the create. Then we need to delete the old one. So we're going to do this storage delete, and we'll pass in post image. But we don't yet have the post, right? Because we need to get the post here using route model binding. We can do storage delete like this, and this is going to delete the post image. The next thing is to update the attributes. So how are we going to update the attributes? The first thing I'm going to do is create a new array here called data, and this is going to be request all. Or we probably want to use request only for security. And request only takes a list of attributes of only the attributes we want to get. So we're just going to say title, description, published at, content. Okay, so we want to get only these, just in case the browser makes a post request, or hackers mess up with the input form and send in other data. We don't want to save that to our database. So request only these fields is going to give us only these fields. And then if the image was there, we're going to say data image is going to be equal to image. And here we can just call post update data. Okay, then session flash, and we're just going to say success, and this is going to say post updated successfully. And now we can just redirect back. So I'm just going to copy the redirect that we have here and return. So let's try this out. We are going to come to our application, refresh, and great, we have post updated successfully. If we edit, let's go ahead and upload another image. This one, for example, update, and great, you can see that the image is updated. And since we are deleting the image, the old image has also been cleared out from storage. Alright guys, we have the update functionality working perfectly. There's a lot of stuff I'm not very happy with in this controller, so we're going to take care of that in the very next lesson. Some sort of refactor to make our code look better. Thank you so much and see you then.